Hello, here's the news at this hour from Tstv. I am Mobola Badekale. Here are some major headlines. Oyo government loans UCH state-of-the-art ambulance. WAEC cannot determine when school will reopen, says federal government. United States Supreme Court to rule on revealing Trump tax returns, and in the world of sport, SOLSKJAER realistic on transfers but keen to keep POGBA. And now the news in details. Oyo State government on Wednesday has loaned a state-of-the-art ambulance to support the University College Hospital UCH fight against the COVID-19. The ambulance was presented to the hospital on behalf of the Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, by the Permanent Secretary, Oyo State Ministry of Health, Dr. Adebisi Ayola. Dr. Ayola, who stressed that the ambulance was on loan to the hospital to enhance the curtailment of the pandemic, added that there was the need for a stronger relationship between the Oyo State government and the UCH in ensuring adequate and prompt health care delivery to the citizens of Oyo State and Nigeria in general. The Chairman, Medical Advisory Committee, Dr. Victor Akimolado, who received the ambulance on behalf of the management, lauded the state government for the initiative and stated that the hospital will be more poised to handle the management chain of COVID-19 patients in line with recommended guidelines. He then assured the Oyo State government that UCH is also ready to cooperate in providing good health care to Nigerians. The chairman for Oyo State Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, WAEC, Engineer Najim Omiride, has disclosed that until the present administration in the state approved the purchase of borehole drilling rig recently, no administration ever did so since 1995. Omiride said this in an interactive meeting he held with the Steering Committee on Water, Sanitation and Hygiene WASH, drawn from various agencies of the state government on Wednesday in Ibadan, the state capital. He said the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has taken water provision to the people of the state as a serious endeavor, which led to the approval for the purchase of a modern borehole drilling rig by the State Executive Council recently. He maintained that although many saw the 2019 ranking of Nigeria as #1 ahead of India in open defecation as politics, Oyo State will leave no stone untouched to achieve zero level of open defecation before 2025. Minister of Education Adamu has announced that Nigerian schools will not reopen anytime soon until it is safe to do so because of the COVID-19 pandemic. He has therefore said that final year students preparing for the senior secondary certificate examination will not be allowed to return to school, contrary to what had earlier been believed. Addressing State House correspondent after the virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council in Abuja on Wednesday, Adamu stated that the West African Examination Council cannot determine the resumption dates of schools for Nigeria. In a statement, it said it would prefer that Nigerian students lose an academic year than to expose them to dangers. It therefore appealed to states that have announced the resumption of schools to reconsider the position as not to jeopardize the lives of the students, adding it is not safe to reopen schools now. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Chief Timipre Silva, in a statement he personally signed Wednesday in Abuja, explained that after a thorough examination of the economics of subsidizing PMS for domestic consumption, the federal government concluded that it was unrealistic to continue with the burden of subsidizing PMS to the tune of trillions of nairas every year. According to the minister, the regulation means that the government will no longer continue to be the main supplier of petroleum products, but will encourage private sector to take over the role of supplier of petroleum products. He also said in line with global best practices, government will continue to play its traditional role of regulation to ensure this strategic commodity is not priced arbitrarily by private sector suppliers. Therefore, the price of crude for the refining process will affect the price of the refined product. And now to some foreign stories. The United States Supreme Court is set to decide whether President Donald Trump's tax returns and other financial records can be examined by Congress and prosecutors. Trump refuses to share documents concerning his fortune and business. Trump, who made his money as a property developer, is the first president since Richard Nixon in the 1970s not to have made his tax returns public. He called the investigation into his tax affairs a witch hunt and sees the congressional case as a device to harass him politically. Democrat-controlled House of Representatives Committee and New York District Attorney Cyrus Vance, also a Democrat, are demanding the release of his tax returns and other information. The subpoenas, ordered to hand over evidence, were issued last year to Mazars USA, who are Trump's accountants, and to Trump major lenders Deutsche Bank and Capital One. Lower courts in Washington and New York ruled against the president in all cases, but those decisions have been put on hold pending a final court ruling. Heavy rains and landslides in China have left at least 14 people dead or missing over the past day, burying houses and causing scenic areas to temporarily shut. 6 people have been unreachable since a landslide in southwestern Guizhou province hit 3 villages on Wednesday, according to local authorities. At least 156 people have been relocated and 6 who were trapped had to be rescued after the incident. Authorities said 19 houses were buried and 60 others were damaged, and at least 120 people have died or gone missing this year in China from flood-related disasters as of July 3rd, according to the state-run People's Daily. And to the exciting water sport, Super Eagles striker Paul Onuachu has contracted the novel coronavirus. The player tested positive for coronavirus on Wednesday, while the results of his mates Steven O'Day and Cyril Dessert at Belgian club Genk came back negative. The 26-year-old Nigerian international left Belgium for Nigeria on May 27th, alongside fellow Eagles strikers Victor Osimhen and Imo Ezekiel, while the Super Eagles striker becomes the second Nigerian footballer to contract coronavirus after Akpan Udo, the first footballer to be infected in February 2020. Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will not seek huge funds for transfer this summer due to the economic realities of coronavirus crisis, but is keen for the club to tie down Paul POGBA to a long-term contract. United Executive Vice Chairman Ed Woodward has warned it will not be business as usual in the transfer market, and the form of Solskjaer's men since returning to action last month has also suggested United do not need to spend tens of millions in upcoming window. The emergence of teenager Mason Greenwood, who has scored 3 times in his last 2 games, has helped quieted speculation over a move for Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho. However, interest from Real Madrid is now unlikely to materialize this summer, and Pogba has formed a formidable partnership with Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Pogba's contract expires next summer, although United have the option to extend that deal by 1 year. Midfielders Scott McTominay and Nemanja Matic have recently penned new deals with the club, and Solskjaer is hopeful Pogba will follow suit. And with that, come to the end of the news. Here is a brief recap of major headlines. Oyo government loans UCH state-of-the-art ambulance. WAEC cannot determine when schools will reopen, says federal government. United States Supreme Court to rule on revealing Trump tax returns. And in the world of sports, you heard Solskjaer realistic on transfers but keen to keep Pogba. Please do not forget to always adhere to COVID-19 safety measures. I am Mobola Batekale. Good day and thank you for watching.